Sometimes a small fire can threaten to burn down the entire neighborhood. That's kind of what we're seeing play out on the world stage right now. What started as a regional conflict is absolutely spiraled, pulling in the big superpowers and putting the entire world economy right in the crosshairs.
And let's be super clear here. This has gone way beyond just being about territory or politics. The battlefield has gotten a lot bigger, and its new primary target seems to be the very economic system that connects every single one of us.
Okay, so let's dive into the heart of this thing. To really understand what's happening, you have to look at the epicenter of the crisis, the direct military back and forth between Israel and Iran.
Things really hit a boiling point over the weekend. We all saw the images. These massive plumes of smoke just billowing from Iranian oil facilities. And yeah, intelligence confirms these were direct Israeli strikes aimed right at the heart of Iran's economy. So how did Iran hit back? Well, it was a two-pronged response. Internally, there was a major political shift. A new Islamist leader took power. And get this, he's the son of the leader who was assassinated right when all this kicked off. And externally, their answer was purely military. A wave of drone strikes launched all across the region.
And this is where it gets really messy. This isn't just a two-player game anymore. The conflict is spilling across borders. And now, the entire region is feeling the heat.
The collateral damage is just spreading like wildfire. I mean, look at this. In Kuwait, a government building was set on fire. Over in the UAE, debris from an intercepted drone slammed into a residential tower near Dubai's international airport. And in Bahrain, an oil refinery and, this is a big one, a desalination plant were hit hard.
And we're not just talking about buildings here. There is a real, devastating human cost to all of this. In just that one attack in Bahrain, 32 civilians were injured. We're talking teenagers and even a 2-month-old baby. These are the real-world consequences when a war widens.
So hitting that desalination plant in Bahrain is so critical because it's an attack on the most fundamental resource for life there. For a country that depends on that technology for its drinking water, the threat of severe shortages is now terrifyingly real.
Now, predictably, this conflict didn't stay regional for long. It's quickly become a chessboard for the global superpowers, with the United States and Russia taking very different and very opposing positions.
Let's break down their competing interests, because they couldn't be more different. The U.S. is deeply involved, trying to de-escalate while also worrying about the hundreds of thousands of American citizens in the area. And they haven't ruled out putting troops on the ground. Russia, on the other hand, is backing Iran and, frankly, sees a clear strategic and economic win in all this chaos.
For the United States, the stakes are becoming deeply personal. The Pentagon has now confirmed that a 7th American service member has died from injuries they received in the conflict. The human cost is rising.
And yet, despite the chaos and the rising cost of fuel back home, the White House is publicly downplaying the economic fallout. President Trump actually characterized the spike in oil prices as, and I'm quoting here, a very small price to pay.
In the sharpest contrast you can imagine, Russia isn't downplaying the economic effects. They seem to be embracing them. President Putin publicly welcomed Iran's new leader, and a Russian envoy was reportedly seen celebrating the higher oil and gas prices. For Moscow, it seems this instability is profitable.
So, how does all this regional fighting and superpower maneuvering actually affect you and me? Well, it all comes down to the economic shockwaves, and they are absolutely massive.
Here's the bottleneck. The Strait of Hormuz, one of the most vital shipping lanes on the entire planet, is now basically shut down. Pretty much nothing is getting through.
To put that into perspective for you, a full 20%, 1/5, of the world's daily oil supply passes through that narrow strait. And right now, all of that oil is at a standstill, which creates a huge hole in the global energy supply.
So what's the result? Well, Qatar has issued a pretty stark warning. With that much oil taken off the market, we could see the price for a single barrel of oil skyrocket to $150. That's a price that would seriously hurt economies and hit every one of us at the pump.
So where does all this leave us? It all points to a deeply unsettling conclusion. When you combine direct military strikes, regional collateral damage, and opposing superpowers, you get a profoundly unstable future. The whole world is on edge.
And that leaves us with the big, critical question. When you've got two sides locked in an escalating conflict, global powers with vested interests in the outcome, and the world's economy being held hostage, what on earth could possibly break this cycle?